Yeah, amen. I like this idea that the Bible talks about of seasons, right? The seasons that we go through. And sometimes we go through seasons that are really difficult, and sometimes we go through seasons that are better, right? And we understand this right now because right now we just ended the school year, so we're in a summer season, right? Like we live in Florida, so we can't judge seasons by the weather, right? We got to judge it by the calendar. School's over, that means it's summertime, right? Football starts, that means it's fall. That's all we know, right? That's what it means to be a Floridian. And so we get these different seasons in our life, where sometimes it feels as though things are going good, and others it feels like things are going bad. And I don't know about you, but when I'm in seasons where things are going good, it feels like it goes like that, right? Like guys back here, when summertime comes and goes, it's like that. Am I right? Parents in the room, when summertime comes and goes, it's like that. Am I right? And then when you're there in the school year, it feels like it just drags on and on. That's how it is in my life. When things are going good, it feels like it's a flash. When things are going rough, it feels like it takes forever. Right? This is the way seasons work. The good thing about the Bible discussing how our life is like a season is because there's two different ways you can look at it. Number one, you can know that when things are going good, you should enjoy those times, because they won't be there forever. When you're in a good season, you enjoy every moment, you take everything in, because we all know that everything will come to an end. That season will change. But then you can look at it on the flip side. You could say, but when things are going bad, when you're in a tough season, the good thing is, we know the next season's right around the corner. That you can hang on just long enough for the next season to get here. As we've been talking about faith, we've been talking about faith for the last 5 weeks. This is our end of this series called Fearless Faith. And the idea that we've been talking about is as we've been walking through different kinds of faith and what it means to have faith, not just faith in a God that says that if we pray to him that we will be saved, although that is the most important and pivotal and monumental faith that you can have. But faith happens after that as well. We've been asked to have faith in our everyday lives, and we've talked for the last 5 weeks. We've even had different people talk. Last week, James Fields did a fantastic job. On Mother's Day, Heather joined in and helped us to talk about growing faith. And we had all of these different ideas about faith. And today, as we end, I want to kind of ratchet it up a little bit and take it to the next level. Because as we've been talking about faith, what I think is easier to do is it's easier to say you have faith in God when things are going good. And what I want to talk about today is, can you still have your faith in God when you're not in a good season? Can you still have faith in God when things aren't quite going your way? You see, I believe that faith is a lot easier when you have a pattern of victory in your life, right? We know this because a lot of us in this room are Lightning fans, right? Lightning fans for the last 2 seasons, we've won the Stanley Cup, and so when we go to Game 7 against the Canadians, we're like, we're going to win, right? Because there's a pattern of victory that exists. And that pattern of victory says, well, that means we're going to get through the next thing. And so when God is doing awesome things in your life and there's a pattern of victory, it's easier to have faith. Things are going well, they're going to continue to go well, they're always going to go well, things always go good for me. But what if you're that guy? Right? Or what if you just have that one season where it seems like every time you turn around, there's something else, right? I've been in those seasons before where just don't answer the phone, right? Don't return the email. Just don't even check your email, because you know that if somebody's calling you on the phone or if somebody's sending you an email, that means either they're mad at you or something bad has happened. Or a combination of the two. They're mad at you and something bad has happened, right? And there's a season where it feels like everything keeps going wrong and everything keeps going down. And my question for you this morning is, when you're in that kind of season, can you still have faith? That's next level. That's the next level kind of faith. It's easier to have faith when there's a pattern of victory. But how about when things aren't quite going your way? Can you still have faith? And so today, you have your notes there in front of you, but I didn't fill them in for you. I'm just going to let you guys fill it in as you go along. And the idea today is we're talking about fiery faith. And what fiery faith means is, can you still have faith when you're walking through the fires of life? When you're walking through the fires of life and it feels as though you're being burned every day, and every time you turn around, something else goes wrong, can you still have faith? That's what we're calling fiery faith today. And as we look at fiery faith, we're going to look at a guy in the Bible. His name is Daniel. And Daniel, you might have if you've been here for the last 5 weeks, you might wonder, why in the world has there been a lion staring at me for the last 5 weeks? We're finally getting to the lion, Marie. We're finally there. I'm not lying. We are there in this particular spot where we finally get to talk about Daniel. If you know anything about Daniel, we have a little encounter with the lion, so it's all going to come full circle today, hopefully, if I do a good job and if you pay attention. I think we both will. So, as this happens, we look at Daniel and we look at him in the Bible, and he is in a season where things are not going well for him. In fact, he is in his land, and in Jerusalem, Israel, Judah, he's in his land, and they were captured. They were taken over by the Babylonians. So now Daniel has to leave his home and go 500 miles away to Babylon, and he's being led by a guy named King Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar takes all of the Jewish people and brings them in for this kind of indoctrinational ceremony. Hey, if you're going to come and you're going to live here, I know we conquered your land. I know that we've changed everything that you know. I know that you can't go back to your house or to your job or to your family or to your hometown. You're never going to see them again, but we want you to come over here and be like us, and we're going to train you how to do it. Sounds fun, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like he's in a good season? No, he's in a terrible season. Everything keeps going wrong for him. And they wanted to change his name. Well, here's what I love about Daniel. Daniel's name was supposed to be changed to Belshazzar. Yeah, look at George. George's over there like, no, I ain't going to say that. Daniel said no too. He said, no, you call me Daniel. My name's Daniel. I'm Daniel. I'm going by Daniel. You call me whatever you want. I'm only going to answer to Daniel. And so as that happened, as this indoctrination was taking place, then they said, what we want you to do is we want you to eat our food. Oh, this sounds good, right, Robbie? You know, this sounds good. Like eating the food, this is the good stuff. We're going to eat the king's food. The thing is, though, they wanted him to eat the king's food so they can get more work out of him. Right? They wanted to muscle them up. The problem is, we all know, if we've read our Old Testament, we know there's specific things Jewish people aren't supposed to eat. And so Daniel said, I ain't doing that. I'm not going to eat your food. You're not going to call me by that name. You're not going to make me eat your food. I promise you. And so they said, all right, but you're not going to be able to do as much work if you don't. He said, try me. I'll tell you what, we're going to go on a vegan diet. Give me a carrot stick and some celery and watch what happens. And that's exactly what they did. They ate nothing but vegetables. They went out and did the work, and they outworked all the guys that was eating the king's food. Right, which we can kind of understand that, because I get a big old steak in my belly. I ain't doing nothing. And so that's what happened with those people. So now Daniel's here, and Daniel is in a terrible situation. He's run away from his home. He doesn't get to know anything that he's known his whole life. And as he's here in Babylon, he says, I will not change my name. I will not eat their food, and I will not stop worshiping my God. And this is how we start Daniel, right? This is pretty cool stuff, right? This is how we start in Daniel's life, because he's in this season where things aren't going right, and he says, I'm still having faith in God. I don't care what y'all do to me. I'm still going to have faith in God. And that's where we're going to pick it up right here. We're going to pick it up because, as in Daniel chapter 2, because what happens next is that there's this whole dream thing. And Nebuchadnezzar, you can kind of figure out right now, just from the context clues I gave you, he's not exactly the sanest person, right? He's not really a logical kind of thinker. And so Nebuchadnezzar has this dream, and he's trying to figure out the dream, and he can't figure out the dream. And so here's what Nebuchadnezzar decides: I can't figure out what my dream means, you can't figure out what my dream means, so I'm going to kill every smart person. I don't know how you come to that conclusion. I don't know how you get from 0 to 60 that fast, but that's what Nebuchadnezzar said. He said, y'all can't figure it out, y'all dead. Right? So they want to kill every smart person that's around because they couldn't figure out his dreams. Something got back to Daniel. And they said, hey, Daniel, can you figure out this man's dreams? And he was like, no, but God can. So they all started praying. And then he got his seat before the king. He got to talk to King Nebuchadnezzar and understand, based on everything I just told you, that this conversation we're about to read is literally a life or death situation. And here's how this conversation goes. Daniel chapter 2, verse 25. It says, Arioch took Daniel to the king at once and said, I have found a man among the exiles from Judah who can tell the king what his dream means. The king asked Daniel, it says also called Belshazzar, are you able to tell me what I saw in my dream and interpret it? I'm going to stop right there for a second. The king looks at Daniel and asks him a yes or no question. Can you interpret my dreams? Somebody that has faith looks at the king and answers with one word, yes, right? That's great. That's a great answer. Yes, we can interpret the dreams. And then when the dream is interpreted, then you can be like, oh, by the way, that was God. Right? That's somebody that has faith. Yes, we can interpret the dreams. That's not Daniel. Daniel doesn't just have faith. He has fiery faith. He has next level faith. And so when the king asks him a yes or no question, he does not answer with a yes or no answer. Here's how he answers. He says, Daniel replied, no wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery he has asked about, but there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen in days to come. And here's what I love. In this conversation that he had, he could have easily said, yes, we can interpret the dreams. And he just crosses his fingers. Man, I really hope this comes true, because if not, I die, and a lot of my smart friends, they die too. This isn't going to be good. But he doesn't do that. Before anything happens, he gives the praise to God. Before anything happens, he says, no. It's not me. I can't do it, but my God can. And you know the reason that a lot of us, we don't put that faith out there like that is because in the back of our mind, we're a little afraid that maybe God can't. But he says right off the bat, my God can. And this is next level faith. And if you're taking notes, what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to try to give you 3 words at a time. And these 3 words at a time are going to make up a sentence at the end, hopefully. It's not going to be grammatically correct, Donna, just to let you know, right? But it's going to be good enough, all right? It's going to be good enough, and it's going to help us to get to the next level of our faith. How are we going to have faith when things just aren't going our way? And the very first 3 words are the 3 words that Daniel said to the king. My God can. My God can. They said, Daniel, can you interpret this dream? No, I can't interpret the dream, but my God can. That's next level faith. The first level faith, you say yes, and then when the dreams are interpreted, then when you get the results, then when you see a pattern of victory, that's when all of a sudden you speak out in faith. But what they said is ahead of time, before anything happens, he wanted the king to know, my God can. And so in your life, when things are going bad, when you're in a possible situation, you say these 3 words, my God can. When Daniel was about to die, he looked at the king, 3 words, my God can. When you're in life and life just seems to get you down, and every time you turn, seems like something else is going wrong, my God can. These are 3 words that get you through. When you have sickness in your life, my God can. When you have heartache in your life, my God can. When you have financial struggles in your life, my God can. When you have marital problems in your life, my God can. 3 words that takes you to the next level of your faith. When somebody comes to you and says, are you ever going to be able to get through this? Are you going to be able to walk through this fire? You answer with 3 words, my God can. And these are the 3 words that Daniel used to the king. He said, yeah, my God can. My God can. And just as a spoiler, you probably know that not only did my God can, but for Daniel, his God did. His God did. He interpreted the dreams, and as he interpreted the dreams, he was super excited about it. So excited about it, he said, Daniel, you can have a promotion. I've thought about this a lot. Why would you want that promotion, by the way? Right? This is the king that just ruined everything in your life. But Daniel, he's a holy man. He's a man after God's own heart. He said, all right, sure, I'll take the promotion, but not just me. I want my 3 buddies to have a promotion too. You might have heard of them. They said, I want my 3 buddies, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, to have a promotion too. And now they're about to enter the story. It's about to get real good, George. You ready? All right, I need you sure? All right, you set the tone for this whole room now. All right, it's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. There we go. You got this. All right. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were his buddies. As Daniel survived this thing, he saved everybody's lives. He saved all the smart people's lives. Now everybody's still there. Everybody's happy. The king's happy. He figured out his dreams. Everybody's good. They got the promotion. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego got a promotion. And everything's cool, but you probably know that life doesn't always stay that way. We go through seasons. So he went through a really dark season. Then he had this season, and it was very brief. But he had this season where he was able to interpret the king's dreams, and he got a promotion, and his buddies got a promotion, and it was a good season. But now, as you turn the page, you get to another bad season. This bad season happens because King Nebuchadnezzar, and all of his brilliantness, I don't know if that's a word, but and all of his intelligence, he says, you know what I'm going to do? Just because I want to and just because I can, I'm going to build a huge statue. And not just any statue, not just like an Oscar, not an Emmy, not a Grammy. I'm going to build a statue that's 9 stories tall. I'm going to build this huge golden statue because I'm King Nebuchadnezzar and I have really, really bad issues. And so I'm going to build this huge statue, and then we're going to play music, and whenever the music comes, everybody's going to bow down and worship my statue because, I made it. I'm King Nebuchadnezzar, and that's what's going to happen. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you probably know the story. They decided they weren't going to do that. And so as this music plays, there's this huge 9-foot statue. Everybody bows down, and it's very easy to see 3 dudes that didn't. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are standing up. And everybody comes to them and says, guys, you're supposed to be kneeling right now. Did you not hear the music? Did you not hear the flute? Did you not hear the lyre? Did you not hear the harp? Are you hard of hearing? What's happening here? And then they get approached. They get the phone call, they get the summons, they get the email. Nebuchadnezzar wants to talk to them. Daniel chapter 3, verse 13. Nebuchadnezzar summoned Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king. And Nebuchadnezzar said to them, is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the image of gold I have set up? Now when you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all the kinds of music, if you are ready to fall down and worship the image I made, very good. But if you do not worship it, you will be thrown immediately into a blazing furnace. Such a nice guy. Then what God will be able to rescue from my hand? You guys ready for this response? This is about to get really good. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hands. You ready for this? But if not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image you have set up. This is the next level. This is fiery faith. So we started out with our first 3 words, my God can. My God can deliver me from sickness. My God can deliver me from my financial issues. My God can deliver me from my marital issues. My God can. But if not, I will still stand firm in my faith. But if not, I want you to know, O King, that I will worship no other God but the one true God. But if not, you will not tear me down. But if not, I will still stand strong in my faith. My God can, but if not, nothing changes. I still worship God. My God can, but if not, I still go. I still go. And this is huge, right? This is huge. This is just about as next level as you can get. This is where you get to that point in your faith where you realize that a lot of your faith journey has been based on results. That a lot of your faith journey has been based on victories. And at some point you go through a stage in your life where things just aren't going well. And you've probably seen, I got a lot of friends, you probably have a lot of friends, that when they've gone through those times, they left. When they've gone through those times, they said, I can't do it anymore. They didn't have the but if not faith. They had the my God can. And really what they had was that my God better. And that's really what they're saying. My God better deliver me from this, because if not, I'm out of here. But what true faith is, what true fiery faith is my God can. But if not, nothing changes. But if not, I still stand firm in my faith. But if not, I trust in an almighty sovereign God that there's something else around the corner for me. But if not, I go through this fire and I wait for the season to be over. And either the Lord takes me from here and I dine with Jesus, or I keep going through the fire. But I will not bow down and worship another God. I will not do what you say, King. I will not do what you say, world. I will not do what you say, devil. I will not do what you say, temptation. I will stand firm in my faith. My God can, but if not, my faith still stands firm. So, they got thrown in the fire, right? That's what happens. They said, my God can, but if not. He said, all right, cool, let's try it out. Oh, King Nebuchadnezzar in his brilliantness said, all right, we're going to throw these guys into the fire. 3 of them go into the fire, and you probably know what happens next. You've probably heard this story before. They got thrown into the fire. King Nebuchadnezzar, poor guy, he couldn't sleep that night, or I don't know what happened. But he said, now, verse 24, King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, weren't there 3 men we tied up and threw into the fire? And they replied, no, well, certainly, Your Majesty. And he said, look, I see 4. I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed. And the 4th looks like a son of the gods. And Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening in the blazing furnace and shouted. Here's what he shouted. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out. Come here. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire, and the satraps, prefects, governors, and royal advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair of their heads singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there is no smell of fire on them. And then Nebuchadnezzar said, Praise be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angels and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. And then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. And listen, this is a fascinating story, right? We love this story. We love the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They get thrown into a fire. There's 3 of them, and all of a sudden there's 4 in there. But if you allow me for a moment, I really want to go a little deeper this morning with you, just a little bit next level. Because if you have 3 people thrown into the fire, now there's a 4th one in there. I think the question is, who's that 4th dude? Right? Who else is there in the fire? Well, I believe in this concept, and now understand what I'm about to tell you. Because I am standing here in this pulpit, I know I'm judged by what I'm about to say. So I want to let you know that what I'm about to say is my opinion of theologians' thoughts, right? And the way theologians have said this, there are a lot of theologians of which I agree with, that believe in this concept in the scripture called a Christophany. And a Christophany is a pre-incarnate Jesus. So let me give you an example, the best example there is of it. The best example is that the Bible talks in the Old Testament that Jacob wrestled with God. You guys know that story? Jacob wrestled with God. However, the scripture also says nobody has ever seen the face of God. So either God is wearing a lucha libre mask, right, as he's fighting with Jacob, right? He's going straight Rey Mysterio on him over there. Or the most likely scenario is that the person that Jacob was wrestling with was actually Jesus himself. That a pre-incarnate Jesus shows up in the Old Testament. That there are many stories, which I'm fascinated with, by the way, many stories that when you see them, and it says an angel of God, a lot of times you can trace that back. And my theory, and some theologians agree with me, that those are what we call Christophanies, a pre-incarnate Jesus showing up in the Old Testament. So as 3 people, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, get thrown into the fire, I'm just going to let you guess who I think that 4th person is. I believe that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were dancing in a fire with Jesus. How cool is that? How cool is that to think about? A pre-incarnate Jesus showed up in the fire. That when they were walking through the fire, that Jesus was with them. That when they were about to get burnt, Jesus was with them. That when things weren't going their way, Jesus was with them. And guys, in your life, when you're walking through the fire, Jesus is with you. When it feels like you're always getting burnt, Jesus is with you. When you feel like you can't go anymore, just keep going because he is with you. He is in the fire with you. And as he's in the fire with you, this is the most beautiful thing. Because if you think about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, we make them heroes. We make them heroes. King Nebuchadnezzar made them heroes. They got promoted. But they're heroes because they came out of the fire. And that's what we always tell the story. We always tell the story, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They're heroes because they went in the fire and they came out. And there was nothing wrong with them. No, that's not correct. That's not correct. They were heroes because they were willing to walk in that fire no matter what. If they would have burnt up in that fire, they're heroes. Because they stood up to the king and said, my God can deliver me from that fire, but if not, I will not bow down to you, king. I will stand firm in my faith. And I might burn in that fire, but I will burn praising God the whole way. That's when they became heroes. And in our life, that's the choices we have. When we go next level faith, when we want a fiery faith, this faith has to not be about results, but it has to be about faithfulness. Faithfulness, to take one step, even though you're probably going to get burnt. You ever been in these stages where you know you want to help somebody, but you just know it's going to blow up in your face? I got a lot of those on my calendar right now, right? Like, I'm going to go help that person, but I just know it's going to blow up in my face. But you know what I'm going to do? I help them anyway. You know, I know I should be nice to that person, but it always ends up being a thing. But I'm going to go be nice to that person. You know why? Because it's what I'm supposed to do. Right? Somebody says, hey, you know what? We should go play in the church. Maybe it's going to work. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Just do it anyhow. Right? You got to keep walking. You got to keep walking. You got to keep walking in that fire. And when things get difficult, you keep walking. All right? So this is the sentence that we're making. The sentence that we're making is, my God can, but if not. But that's only a part of a sentence. I got 3 more words. 3 more words to finish us out. 3 more words to finish us out. Q. To finish us out. Q. There you go. Good job, Jason. Jason's back there. He figured it out. All right, here's 3 more words to finish us out. My God can, but if not, my God sent. My God, S-E-N-T. My God can, but if not, my God sent. Because there's a whole other story here. A whole other story that I want to talk about, as I sound a lot more spiritual now. The next story that I want to talk about in the next few minutes that I have before I'm done is that things still weren't always going well for Daniel. Right? His buddies were there. His buddies walked through the fire. It was all cool. Daniel was able to interpret the dream. That was all cool. But then a new king came, King Darius. And King Darius was there, and he liked Daniel. Problem is, and here's what you can figure out. You guys have probably experienced this a lot in your life, that when things are going well for you, sometimes it's the people around you that are jealous because it's not going well for them. They try to take you down. And in Daniel's life, the next step that he was going through was about these kind of people. There was people that said, wait, Daniel is so close to the king. We got to figure out a way to stop this. Here's what they did. They said, we've got to figure out something that Daniel likes. And then, because, see, Daniel's such a good guy. Like, we can't really catch him breaking a rule. We can't really catch him doing anything wrong. He's such a good guy, so we got to figure something out. But what is something that he always likes to do? And then we can go to the king, and we can tell him, hey, let's make a law that you can't do that. So they thought about it for a while. They said, what does Daniel like to do? I know. He likes to pray. How would you love that? Wouldn't that be awesome if your enemies are trying to come against you and they said, let me say the worst possible thing I could say about this person. You know what he likes to do? He likes to pray. Whoa! I was thinking, what would they say to me? Right? Like, my enemies are trying to get after me. And they said, you know what? Let's go to President Biden and let's make a law. What does James like to do? Oh, I know. Let's make a law that for 30 days you can't eat birthday cake. Like, chain me up now, right? Just take me in. But how cool would it be to say that the one thing that you're known for is that you're a person of prayer? And they said, I'll bet you anything Daniel can't go 30 days without praying. I'll bet you anything Daniel can't. And they were right. Daniel couldn't go 30 days without praying. He couldn't go one day without praying. So this is what I do. I'm Daniel, not Belshazzar. I don't go by your name. I don't eat your food. I don't worship your gods. I worship the one true God, and I pray to him consistently and always because he is the one true God. And when they said, you can't do that for 30 days, he said, watch me. And that's literally what he did. He went to the window that he went to every day, and he prayed. And as he prayed, you guys probably know what happened next. King Darius came to him because all of these kings, they're all just so brilliant. The king came to him and said, listen, Daniel, I like you. I wish I didn't have to do this, but I'm going to throw you in the lion's den. You don't have to do it, Darius. Number one, you don't, right? You could figure out another solution. There's called diplomacy. You could have figured it out, but all right. Daniel gets thrown into the lion den. And now we know this story, right? And that's the reason you have the picture of the lion for the last 6 weeks, is because we end today. We know that Daniel got thrown into the lion's den. And if you've ever been to the zoo and you've seen the lions getting the food, And they're fast. They're fast. They get that food fast. So you know that once Daniel gets thrown into a lion's den, it's over. He's dead. But Darius knew something was different about Daniel. So he went back to go check on him. Daniel chapter 6, verse 19. At the first light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. And when he came near the den, he called to Daniel in an anguished voice, Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions? And Daniel answered, may the king live forever. My God sent. My God sent. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done any wrong before you, your majesty. The king was overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound was found on him, because he had trusted in his God. And based on my conversation in Daniel chapter 3, where I believe that Jesus was the one walking in the fire, I want you to know that I believe, you don't have to, but I believe that Daniel chapter 6 is also a Christophany. I believe that when Daniel was in the lion's den and he was chilling with the lion, that he was chilling with Jesus in the lion's den. And he's with Jesus in the lion's den, and he said, I am the Lion of Judah, and that lion is not going to touch you, Daniel. He says, my God can deliver you from this lion den, but if not, my God sent. And there's one more word I want you to add on your sentence. Jesus. See, here's where it gets really good. My God can deliver me from sickness, from financial issues, from marital problems, from heartache, from guilt, from depression. My God can. But if not, my God sent Jesus. And if I am still sick, at least Jesus is by my side. And if I am still poor, at least Jesus is by my side. And if I lose everything, my God sent Jesus. The Bible says in John chapter 3, verse 16, but God so loved the world that he sent his son Jesus. I used to say, when I was younger, I used to have this sentence that I would always say. I'd say, if I had a cardboard box in Jesus, I'd be the richest man in the world. I'd say, if I had nothing else in the world except for Jesus, I'd be the most blessed person in the world. Problem is, through the years, I got a wife. I have kids. I have a house. I have a beautiful church family. When I say the words, if I had nothing but a cardboard box in Jesus, I'd be the richest man in the world, I want you to know it's a lot more difficult to say it now than it was then. But I still believe that with all my heart. When I say if I lose everything but I have Jesus, I'm the most blessed man in the world, it's a lot more difficult to say now than it's ever been in my life, because God has blessed me and blessed me and blessed me. Because there's a pattern of victory, a pattern of victory, a pattern of victory. And it's a lot harder to say now than ever before that if I lose everything but Jesus, I'm still a blessed man, but I still believe it. I still believe that no matter what happens in our life, that my God can deliver me. But if not, my God sent Jesus, and he's better than everything. And this week, I don't know if you've been in the same spot that I've been in. But if I can just level with you today, this message wasn't for you today. Like if you guys got something out of it, cool, that's a bonus. That was my message today. That was my message today. That's what God needed to show me today. I don't know about you guys, but if I could just say it, if I could just be blunt here for a second, this week sucked. It was bad. And I just don't see it getting better around the corner. And I know that my God can. But right now, I feel like I'm in the but if not. And a lot of you guys, you've been holding all this stuff that you came in this week with as well. I know I'm not alone. I know that we all have heartache that we walked in this room with today. I know it. The only thing I can tell you is this. My God can. But if not, my God sent Jesus. And there's never been a more important time in history for us to be the people of God, to let everybody know that my God sent Jesus for you, and for you, and for you, and for everybody outside these walls too. That our job in the midst of a dark and despicable world is to be the only people that can stand firm in the fire. Because we're the only people that's not standing alone. As we stand in the fire, we know that my God can. But if not, my God sent Jesus. And that's enough. And that's everything. You guys will stand with me for a minute. I'm going to have a word of prayer. God, this morning, as you've given me this message to give to myself, I just thank you as I've been thanking you all day for this. Because I know it's easy. It's easy to stand up here in the good times. It's easy to stand up here when there's a pattern of victory and declare that I'm a faithful man. It's easy to stand up here and say we're a faithful church when things are going well. But a lot of times, God, things are going well just because we push down all the things that are going bad. So I pray today, God, this can be a day of release for some people. It's going to be a day they release their heartache. They release their guilt. They release their shame. All the stuff that they've pushed down, God, that they would release it. So I know that you can restore. I know that you can redeem. I know that you can do all of the things that you do. My God can. But if not, we know that you sent Jesus. So God, I pray for anybody in this room that doesn't know Jesus. I pray that today will be a day of salvation for them. I can't even imagine walking through this life without Jesus. I can't even imagine walking through the fires of this life without Jesus. I can't imagine walking into the lion's den of this world without Jesus. I can't even imagine the heartache and the hopelessness that must exist in people's lives that don't have Jesus. I can't even imagine what that must be like. So God, I pray, Lord, there's anybody in this room that doesn't know Jesus, that today will be the day. Today will be the day they stand firm to know that you have sent Jesus. And they will not be alone in that fire. God, we do know there's another in the fire, and we give you the praise and the honor and the glory for how amazing you are that you've sent Jesus. It's in your name we pray. Amen.